What will you do if the person you cared for with all your heart was secretly the one destroying your life? This is the story of a woman who was mocked for being barren, prayed day and night for a child, only to discover the enemy was living inside her own home. Stay with me because what happens at the end will shock you. Welcome to Olu Beauty African Folktales channel. Here we tell you the way it is. Have you subscribed? If not, oh yeah, run kitty kitty, run kata kata. Subscribe, like, comment and share. Share it with your families and friends. And don't forget to touch the bell button so that you'll be notified each time we put out new video. Oh yeah, grab your popcorn, sit JJ and enjoy yourself. Oh yeah, let's go there. In the quiet town of Ogbu-Umuada, where red earth clung to bare feet, and the evening breeze carried the sound of distant drums, a story lived on in whispers, a story wrapped in pain, silence, destiny, a story of cruelty, a story of prayer, and a story no one believed until the truth finally spoke. Many years ago, a young girl named Ngozi lived in Ogbu-Umuada with her aunt. Ngozi was just 18 years, full of life, respectful, and hardworking. One evening, her aunt sent her to buy ingredients from a nearby village market, and she said, Ngozi, hurry back before nightfall. Oh. Her aunt warned. But on her way back, the sky began to grow dark. Instead of taking the longer main road, Ngozi made a choice. She took a narrow shortcut known as Uzonkata, the bush path. People avoided that path, but she was tired and she wanted to get home quickly. As she approached an abandoned building along the path, dark figures emerged. Before she could run, before she could scream, they grabbed her. That night, Ngozi's world ended. Ngozi never spoke of what happened. She carried her pain in silence, but after some months, her body began to change. When her aunt noticed, the truth could no longer be hidden, and she said, "Who is responsible?" she asked angrily. Ngozi cried and said, "I don't know, Auntie, I don't know. I was raped." The shame spread through the compound. The whispers began, but only one person stood by her mother, Mama Ebere, who came from her village to take her home. And she said, "My daughter will not suffer alone," Mama Ebere said firmly. After some months, on a cold, rainy night, Ngozi went into labor. The storm was fierce. Thunder roared. The midwives worked tirelessly, and finally, a baby girl was born. But as the child cried, Ngozi became still, gone, just like that. The room fell into silence. Mama Ebere screamed and shouted and said, "Ngozi, my daughter, don't leave me. Don't leave this child for me. Ngozi, wake up." But death had already taken her, a life lost, a life given. The child was named Amarachi, meaning God's grace. Mama Ebere raised her alone in Ogbu-Umuada. She never told Amarachi how she came into the world. To Amarachi, her mother was simply late, nothing more. Despite everything, Mama Ebere gave her the best life she could. Amarachi went to good schools. She grew into a beautiful, intelligent, and respectful young woman. People admired her, some envied her, but no one knew the truth behind her birth. Before Amarachi entered into the university, one day her grandmother, Mama Barren, called her, sat her down, and told her everything about her birth. Amarachi listened carefully. After everything, Amarachi cried, but there is nothing she could do. So, when Amarachi went to the university in Enugu, one day she met Emeka Okafor. Emeka was from a wealthy and respected family, handsome, calm, and well educated. But more importantly, he had a kind heart. Their friendship grew into love. Their love grew naturally, deep, genuine love. One evening, Amarachi sat him down, her hands trembling, and she said, Amy, there is something you must know about me. Oh." She told him everything. Her voice shook, her eyes filled with tears. She expected him to leave, but Emeka didn't move. He simply held her hand and said, What brought you into this world does not define who you are. I see your heart, and that is enough for me, okay? You did not choose your beginning, but I choose you for my future. I love you. That's what matters, okay? As their love grew, one day, Emeka took Amarachi to meet his family. His father, Chief Okafor, welcomed her warmly. His siblings smiled, but his mother, Madam Ifnanya Okafor, watched her closely. During their conversation, she asked calmly and said, My daughter, tell me about your parents. Amarachi hesitated, but she chose honesty. She told her everything. The room became quiet. Madam Ifnanya forced a smile, but her eyes had changed. That night, she called her son, Emeka, and she said, You will not marry that girl, oh," she said firmly. Why, Mama? Emeka asked, and she responded and said, Because nobody knows where she comes from. No father, no lineage. What kind of blood are you bringing into this family? But Emeka stood his ground and said, She is my choice, Mama. His father supported him. His siblings supported him. But Madam Ifnanya swore, and she said, If you marry her, you will regret it. A girl without a father, without known bloodline, she said bitterly, she cannot enter this family, not when I'm alive. Emeka cried out and said, But Mama, everybody in the house accepted her. Even Papa loved her. Everybody accepted her. Why not accept her too? Please, I will marry her. I will marry her. Emeka refused to listen to his mother. He married Amarachi, and from that day, the battle began. The marriage was peaceful but empty. No child. They began visiting prayer houses from one pastor to another, from one vigil to another, from mountain prayers to midnight cries. Amarachi prayed with all her heart, and she said, God, if there is anything standing between me and my joy, remove it, my father. Year after year, nothing changed. And Madam Ifnanya never stopped reminding them. And she said, Where are the children? You see now, I warned you. I warned you, my son, I warned you. But you wouldn't listen. Now, has he given you any child? Is it how you are going to die? After some years, then one day, Madam Ifnanya fell terribly ill, very weak, unable to stand. Her children began to receive calls, but one by one they gave excuses. This one said, I have work. Oh. The other one said, my children are not feeling fine too. Another one said, let someone else take care of her now. Even Emeka was frustrated. Let her stay there, oh, he said angrily. She has other children. They should take care of her. But Amarachi was quiet. That night, she said softly, Amy, she's still your mother. Oh. Let's go and bring her here so that we can take care of her. After everything she has done to you, he snapped. Yes, Amarachi replied, and I will not let her suffer, Amarachi said. Days passed. The issue remained. One evening, the argument became serious. We are not bringing her here, oh, Emeka insisted. Then I will go and stay with her, Amarachi said calmly. Emeka stared at her wife for a long time and he said, you will leave your own house for her? Tears filled her eyes and she said, I am not doing it because she deserves it. I am doing it because it is the right thing to do. Silence, long silence. Then Emeka sighed deeply and said, all right, we will go together. They went and carried Madam Ifnanya home. The same woman who once said, over my dead body, was now lying helpless in Amarachi's house. Amarachi cared for her, bathed her, fed her, prayed beside her. Even when the woman turned her face away in shame, Amarachi still showed kindness. Hello, viewers. Let's pause a little and think over this story. Tell me in the comment section, if you were Amarachi, will you do this? Tell me, and don't forget to share this story to your family and friends. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like this video, okay? Okay, let's continue. Every night, Amarachi knelt beside her bed and she prayed and said, oh God, touch her heart, heal her body, and remove every evil from my life. Sometimes she cried, sometimes she fasted, sometimes she prayed until she slept on the floor. Emeka, her husband, watched her, and slowly something in him changed too. After some weeks, Madam Ifnanya recovered, but she was no longer the same. One morning, she said quietly to them, please, I would like if all of us travel to the village this weekend. And they accepted. They traveled back to Ogbu-Umuada. She entered her old room and brought out a wrapper, old faded wrapper. Amarachi froze and said, this is mine. I lost it years ago. Madam Ifnanya looked at her with trembling eyes and said, take it and burn it. Then Amarachi said, but Mama, do as I say. Madam Ifnanya cut her short. As Amarachi dropped the wrapper into the fire, a sudden wind rose. Her body shook. She held her stomach, and suddenly something dropped from her, dark, heavy, like thick blood. She screamed. Emeka rushed to her, but Madam Ifnanya just stood there, tears rolling down her face. Months later, Amarachi conceived. This time, the pregnancy stayed strong, healthy, and when the time came, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. They named him Chidubem. God leads me. During the child's naming ceremony, family members gathered. Food was served. Laughter filled the compound. Then suddenly, Madam Ifnanya stood up, her voice shaking, and she said, I have something to say. The entire place went silent. She looked at Amarachi, then at everyone, and then said, "This child you are celebrating today would have come long ago." People leaned forward, confused. Then she said it. "I am the one who stopped it." Everyone gasped, shock, fear, and she continued. "I took her wrapper. I went to a native doctor and I placed a curse on her womb." Emeka staggered back and shouted and said, "Mama!" Tears poured down her face and she continued and said, "I hated her because of where she came from." She pointed at Amarachi and she continued, "But she prayed for me. She cared for me. She saved me even when my own children abandoned me. She was there praying for me." She fell to her knees and she continued and said, "Her prayers broke what I did. If not for her, I couldn't have been here today. Please, I am sorry." The compound in Ogbu-Umuada fell into a deep, terrifying silence after Madam Ifnanya's confession. No one moved, no one spoke. It was as if the air itself had frozen. Then suddenly, "Jesus!" one of the women screamed. Another covered her mouth in shock and said, "You mean all these years?" "Hi!" someone whispered. Emeka's eyes were red, filled with pain, disbelief, anger. He stared at his mother like he had never seen her before, and he said, "Mama," his voice trembled. "You mean you were the reason all these years? You are wicked, oh." His fist tightened, and he continued and said, "You watched her cry, you watched her suffer, and you said nothing. Hi, Mama, chai." Madam Ifnanya wept uncontrollably. And she said, "Forgive me, my son, forgive me. Forgive me, I am sorry, oh. I was blind. Please forgive me." But Emeka stepped back and said, "No, you were wicked, very wicked." The crowd gasped. Then all eyes turned to Chief Okafor, her husband. The old man had been quiet, too quiet. Slowly, he stood up, leaning on his walking stick. He looked at his wife with deep disappointment, and then he said, "Ifunanya, so this is what you have been doing behind my back?" She fell at his feet and said, "I was angry. I didn't want that girl. Oh. I didn't want her. Oh." "Enough!" he thundered. The entire compound shook. Then he continued and said, "That girl you rejected is the only one who showed you kindness when you were dying here." Silence, heavy silence everywhere. "Your own children abandoned you," he continued, his voice breaking. "But the one you cursed carried you, fed you, prayed for you. Ah, Ifunanya, you are wicked." Tears rolled down his face. "You have brought shame to my family. You have brought shame to this family. Ha! Ifunanya, oh." In that moment, the siblings who once ignored their mother could no longer speak. Shame covered their faces. One of them whispered and said, "After everything, she still helped her. I never see this kind of heart. Oh." Another said quietly, "We failed, though, but she didn't." The elders shook their heads and they said, "This is why we say, never judge a person by their beginning. Oh, hey!" All eyes turned to Amarachi then. She stood there, calm, tears in her eyes, but not anger. She slowly walked toward her mother-in-law, lifted her from the ground, and said softly, "Mama, if God has forgiven you, who am I to hold it against you? I have forgiven you, Mama." The crowd murmured in amazement. From that day, everything changed. Peace returned, joy returned, and baby Chidubem became a symbol in Ogbu-Umuada, a child of prayer, a child of victory, a child that proved that God has the final say. Thank you for watching. This is where our story ends. Please, my dear listener, this story teaches us something powerful. Never mock someone's situation. You don't know what they are fighting in secret. Never repay evil with evil, because kindness has a voice that speaks louder than revenge. And most importantly, prayer can break what human hands have done. In conclusion, my dear viewers, life will not always be fair. Sometimes the pain we carry is not caused by strangers, but by people we trust, people we love, even people we call family. But this story reminds us of something powerful. God sees what man hides. No matter how long the darkness lasts, no matter how deep the secret is buried, one day the truth will rise. Amarachi did not fight back. She did not repay evil with evil. Instead, she chose kindness. She chose patience. And above all, she chose prayer. And because of that, heaven stepped in. So I want to tell you today, if you are going through pain, if people are working against you in secret, if doors seems closed in your life, do not give up. Keep doing good. Keep your heart clean. Keep praying even when it feels like nothing is changing, because at the right time, God will fight your battles for you. And when He does, no man can stop your blessing. Remember this: what God has destined for you cannot be destroyed by man. Kindness will always speak louder than wickedness, and prayer can break every chain you cannot see. Stay faithful, stay hopeful, and never stop believing. Your testimony is coming soon. Thank you once again for watching. Please, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with your family and friends. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you believe that kindness and prayer still have power, type Amen in the comment section. Also, subscribe for more powerful African stories that teach, inspire, and transform lives. And don't forget to touch the bell button so that you'll be notified each time we put out new video. God bless you all. Love you. Bye bye. Mwah.